history of science in early cultures covers proto-science in ancient history, prior to the development of science in the Middle Ages. In prehistoric times, advice and knowledge was passed from generation to generation in an oral tradition. The development of writing enabled knowledge to be stored and communicated across generations with much greater fidelity. Combined with the development of agriculture, which allowed for a surplus of food, it became possible for early civilizations to develop and spend more of their time devoted to tasks other than survival, such as the search for knowledge's sake.
In Sumer, now Iraq, around 3500 BC, the Mesopotamian peoples began to attempt to record some observations of the world with extremely thorough numerical data. A concrete instance of Pythagoras' law was recorded as early as the 18th century BC. The Mesopotamian cuneiform tablet Plimpton 322 records a number of Pythagorean triplets, 3, 4, 5, 5, 12, 13, dated to approximate 1800 BC. Over a millennium before Pythagoras, but an abstract formulation of the Pythagorean theorem this was not. Astronomy is a science that lends itself to the recording and study of observations. The rigorous notings of the motions of the stars, planets, and the moon are left on thousands of clay tablets created by scribes. Even today, astronomical periods identified by Mesopotamian scientists are still widely used in Western calendars: the solar year, the lunar month, the 7-day week. Using these data, they developed arithmetical methods to compute the changing length of daylight in the course of the year, and to predict the appearances and disappearances of the moon and planets and eclipses of the sun and moon. Only a few astronomers' names are known, such as that of Kadinu, a Chaldean astronomer and mathematician who was contemporary with the Greek astronomers. Kadinu's value for the solar year is in use for today's calendars. Astronomy and astrology were considered to be the same thing, as evidenced by the practice of this science in Babylonia by priests. Indeed, rather than following the modern trend towards rational science, moving away from superstition and belief, the Mesopotamian astronomy conversely became more astrology-based later in the civilization, studying the stars in terms of horoscopes and omens, which might explain the popularity of the clay tablets. Hipparchus was to use this data to calculate the precession of the Earth's axis. 1500 years after Kadinu, Al-Battani, born in what is now Turkey, would use the collected data and improve Hipparchus' value for the precession of the Earth's axis. Al-Battani's value, 54.5 arcseconds per year, compares well to the current value of 49.8 arcseconds per year, 26,000 years for Earth's axis to round the circle of nutation.
Egypt included astronomy, mathematics and medicine. Their geometry was a necessary outgrowth of surveying to preserve the layout and ownership of farmland, which was flooded annually by the Nile River. The 3-4-5 right triangle and other rules of thumb served to represent rectilinear structures, including their post and lintel architecture. Egypt was also a center of alchemical research for much of the Western world. System have served as the basis for the Egyptian Phoenician alphabet, from which the later Hebrew, Greek, Latin, Arabic, and Cyrillic alphabets were derived. The city of Alexandria retained preeminence with its library, which was damaged by fire when it fell under Roman rule, being completely destroyed before 642. With it, a huge amount of antique literature and knowledge was lost. (226 to 652 AD), great attention was given to mathematics and astronomy. The Academy of Gundashapur is a prominent example in this regard. Astronomical tables, such as the Sharia tables, date to this period, and Sassanid observatories were later imitated by Muslim astronomers and astrologers of the Islamic period. In the mid-Sassanid era, an influx of knowledge came to Persia from the west in the form of views and traditions of Greece which, following the spread of Christianity, accompanied Syriac, the official language of Christians, as well as the Iranian Nestorians. The Christian schools in Iran have produced great scientists such as Nursi, Farhad, and Marabai. Also, a book was left by Paulus Persa, head of the Iranian Department of Logic and Philosophy of Aristotle, written in Syriac, and dictated to Sassanid king Anushirvan. scientific thought in classical antiquity becomes tangible from the 6th century BC in pre-Socratic philosophy, Thales, Pythagoras. In 385 BC, Plato founded the Academy. With Plato's student Aristotle begins the scientific revolution of the Hellenistic period, culminating in the 3rd to 2nd centuries with scholars such as Eratosthenes, Euclid, Aristarchus of Samos, Hipparchus and Archimedes. In classical antiquity, the inquiry into the workings of the universe took place both in investigations aimed at such practical goals as establishing a reliable calendar or determining how to cure a variety of illnesses, and in those abstract investigations known as natural philosophy. The ancient people, who are considered the first scientists, may have thought of themselves as natural philosophers, as practical physicians, or as followers of a religious tradition of, for example, temple healers. The earliest Greek philosophers, known as the pre-Socratics, provided competing answers to the question found in the myths of their neighbors. How did the ordered cosmos in which we live come to be? The pre-Socratic philosopher Thales, dubbed the father of science, was the first to postulate non-supernatural explanations for natural phenomena such as lightning and earthquakes. Pythagoras of Samos founded the Pythagorean school, which investigated mathematics for its own sake, and was the first to postulate that the earth is spherical in shape. Subsequently, Plato and Aristotle produced the first systematic discussions of natural philosophy, which did much to shape later investigations of nature. Their development of deductive reasoning was of particular importance and usefulness to later scientific inquiry. The level of achievement in Hellenistic astronomy and engineering is impressively shown by the Antikythera mechanism, 150 to 100 BC. The astronomer Aristarchus of Samos was the first known person to propose a heliocentric model of the solar system, while the geographer Eratosthenes accurately calculated the circumference of the Earth. Hipparchus, 190–120 BC, produced the first systematic star catalogue. Edison, Herophilos, 335–280 BC, was the first to base his conclusions on dissection of the human body and to describe the nervous system. Hippocrates, 460 BC, 370 BC, and his followers were first to describe many diseases and medical conditions. Galen, 129 to 200 AD, performed many audacious operations, including brain and eye surgeries, that were not tried again for almost 2 millennia.
Excavations at Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, and other sites of the Indus Valley civilization have uncovered evidence of the use of practical mathematics. The people of the Indus Valley civilization manufactured bricks whose dimensions, 1 in the proportion 4:1, considered favorable for the stability of a brick structure. They used a standardized system of weights based on the ratios 120, 1/10, 1/5, a half, 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, 50, 100, 200, and 500, with the unit weight equaling approximately 28 grams, and approximately equal to the English ounce or Greek uncia. The inhabitants of Indus civilization also tried to standardize measurement of length to a high degree of accuracy. They designed a ruler, the Mohenjo-daro ruler, whose unit of length, approximately 1.32 inches or 3.4 centimeters, was divided into 10 equal parts. Bricks manufactured in ancient Mohenjo-daro often had dimensions that were integral multiples of this unit of length. Mehergarh, a Neolithic site, provides the earliest known evidence for in vivo drilling of human teeth, with recovered samples dated to 7000 to 5500 BCE. Early astronomy in India, like in other cultures, was intertwined with religion. The first textual mention of astronomical concepts comes from the Vedas, religious literature of India. According to Sarma, 2008, one finds in the Rigveda intelligent speculations about the genesis of the universe from non-existence, the configuration of the universe, the spherical self-supporting earth, and the year of 360 days divided into 12 equal parts of 30 days each with a periodical intercalary month. Classical Indian astronomy documented in literature spans the Maurya, Vedanta Jyotisha, c. 5th century BCE, to the Vijayanagar, South India, such as the 16th century Kerala school, periods. The first named authors writing treatises on astronomy emerged from the 5th century, the date when the classical period of Indian astronomy can be said to begin. Besides the theories of Aryabhatta in the Aryabhatiya and the lost Arya Siddhanta, we find the Pacha Siddhantika of Varhamihira. The astronomy and the astrology of ancient India, Jyotisha, is based upon sidereal calculations, although a tropical system was also used in a few cases.
The first recorded observations of solar eclipses and supernova were made in China. On July 4, 1054, Chinese astronomers observed a guest star, a supernova, the remnant of which is now called the Crab Nebula. Korean contributions include similar records of meteor showers and eclipses, particularly from 1500 英寸 the annals of the Joseon dynasty. Traditional Chinese medicine, acupuncture, and herbal medicine were also practiced, with similar medicine practiced in Korea. Among the earliest inventions were the abacus, the public toilet, and the shadow clock. Joseph Needham noted the four great inventions of China as among some of the most important technological advances. These were the compass, gunpowder, papermaking, and printing, which were later known in Europe by the end of the Middle Ages. However, Needham and most scholars recognized that cultural factors prevented these Chinese achievements from developing into what might be considered modern science. It was the religious and philosophical framework of the Chinese intellectuals which made them unable to believe in the ideas of laws of nature. It was not that there was no order in nature for the Chinese, but rather that it was not an order ordained by a rational personal being, and hence there was no conviction that rational personal beings would be able to spell out in their lesser earthly languages the divine code of laws which he had decreed aforetime. The Taoists, indeed, would have scorned such an idea as being too naive for the subtlety and complexity of the universe as they intuited it.